know exactly which one of these is the right phone for you. So let's just jump right in with what makes these phones special, starting with the design and feel. When the iPhone 15 launched back in September 2023, it was all about bringing flagship features down to the standard model. It finally got the dynamic island, a huge 48 megapixel camera, and USB-C. And you feel that premium focus the moment you pick it up. It has this aerospace-grade aluminum frame with new contoured edges that are way more comfortable to hold. It's surprisingly light at just 171 grams, and the matte glass back feels fantastic. But then Samsung came along in March of 2025 with the A56, and its philosophy is to shake up the mid-range by packing in features that challenge the need for a flagship. It feels just as premium with an aluminum frame and tough Gorilla Glass Victus Plus on the front and back. But it's a bigger, more substantial phone at 98 grams, built around its massive screen. And the real kicker? Samsung is promising an insane 6 years of software and security updates, which is a direct shot at one of Apple's biggest selling points. So in your hands, the iPhone feels smaller, lighter, and more refined. The A56 feels like a bigger, media-focused device. When it comes to durability, they're both solid. The iPhone has a slightly better IP68 water resistance rating, meaning it can survive deeper water than the A56's IP67. In the real world, they'll both survive a splash, but it's a small technical win for the iPhone. Alright, let's talk about the displays, because this is probably the single biggest point of difference between these two phones, and honestly, it might be the deciding factor for a lot of you. The iPhone 15 has a gorgeous 6.1-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. It's incredibly sharp with a resolution of 2556 by 1179, and it gets insanely bright up to 2000 nits peak brightness outdoors. It looks fantastic. But, and this is huge, it's a 60 Hz refresh rate display. In 2025, on a phone that costs this much, that is a tough pill to swallow. Now, Apple's animations in iOS are super smooth, and some people genuinely don't notice or care. But if you're coming from a phone with a high refresh rate, you will notice it. Scrolling just doesn't feel as fluid. This is a strategic business decision from Apple. They're betting that the overall smoothness of iOS is good enough for most people, which helps them keep the 120Hz ProMotion display as a key reason to upgrade to the more expensive Pro models. Now look at the Galaxy A56. It has a larger 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display, and it's a 120Hz panel. Everything just glides. Scrolling through social media, navigating the UI, it just feels faster and more responsive. For Samsung, this isn't just a spec, it's a feeling. It's something you can immediately notice in a store, and it makes the phone feel more premium and zippy than its price tag suggests. It doesn't get quite as bright as the iPhone outdoors, peaking at 1900 nits, but it's still more than bright enough. For pure viewing pleasure and smoothness, the A56's screen is of course better. The other difference is up top. The iPhone has the dynamic island, which cleverly integrates alerts and live activities. It's cool, it's functional, and it's definitely more useful than the old notch. The A56 just has a simple, small punch hole cutout for the camera. It's less intrusive but also less functional. It really comes down to personal preference here. Okay, under the hood, this is where the story flips. The iPhone 15 is powered by the A16 Bionic chip. This was the flagship chip from the iPhone 14 Pro, and it is an absolute powerhouse. It's a hexa-core CPU with a 5-core GPU built on a 4nm process. For day-to-day stuff, opening apps, browsing, taking photos, this phone is flawlessly fast. It never stutters. The Galaxy A56 uses Samsung's own Exynos 1518, also a 4nm chip, but it's an octa-core processor designed for the mid-range and for daily tasks. You know what? It's perfectly fine, it's smooth, especially with that 120Hz screen, and you're not gonna feel like you're using a slow phone at all for browsing Instagram or watching YouTube. But let's put some numbers to it just to see the raw difference. I ran Geekbench 6 on both of these phones. The Galaxy A56 pulled a respectable 1332 on single core and 3882 on multi-core. Not bad at all for a mid-ranger. But then the iPhone 15, it scored 2626 on single core and a massive 6538 on multi-core.